The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Oh, it goes on and 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 fucking on. Of course, speculation about AFC Bournemouth's top stars continues to make the headlines. And there's been even more speculation within the last 24 hours, of course. What we're going to do in this show is we're going to discuss exactly what teams have been linked with what players. And as you can probably see there, and also in the thumbnail as well, there is some scary sights and some big, big clubs. But of course, to help me do this and dissect it and be the voice of reason, because I probably am not going to be by the end of this, I have got Mr. Matthew Harrison with me. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, all good. Fed up speculation is an interesting one.
Yeah. I would probably put a few more powerful messages in there. Would probably contain a few more swear words. But we are a family channel, so I'm not going to fucking swear here. So shall we get underway with the first player?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a look.
So the first player is Dean Howson, of course, signed from Juventus during the summer. He is wanted by Juventus, Real Madrid, Manchester United. I don't know why they're trying to. They can't even fix their ground. Newcastle United, Liverpool, and Arsenal. So 5 very big clubs and 1 very broken club there. I can understand where this has bloody come from, and this is that it's come out that there is this minimum fee release clause in there, which is an absolute pain in the arse. It is going to be a real burden above our heads, but you've got to think that Frano is probably doing the right things to try and tie this lad down to a contract without that now. What do you think, Matt?
Well, his agent will probably not be wanting him to sign it. His advisors will be telling him not to sign it because obviously the clauses are put into these contracts, to prevent clubs from holding players back. This one for me, I love the kiddie. I think he's great. I mean, he's years ahead of, we've said before, stuff about this player, and I can't say any more good for him, really. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic, and years ahead of his age. The biggest problem you got with this one is the clause. No matter what club is linked to the guy, if someone activates it, he's then free to speak to whoever. You could have all 6 of those clubs activate that clause, and he could. And it's down to the player, isn't it? The club have got no say in it. The club can't reject it. The only thing the club can reject is a bid that doesn't meet that release clause. So Juventus must be kicking themselves that they probably didn't put a buyback clause in the deal.
Exactly, yeah, I can imagine that.
If they're interested in the player, I'm sure they're probably kicking themselves. Real Madrid, I saw him play City recently, last night, or the night before, whenever it was, Wednesday. What a great side, for a kiddie of this age, to be linked with a club as big as them. United, it's like you've said broken club. It is at the minute, but if he sold the project,
Yeah.
Is it an attractive project to try and turn that club around? I would probably say no. Newcastle, can't see it myself.
Mhm.
Liverpool, Arsenal, again, potential there. It's whoever activates the clause, isn't it, with this one?
The thing is he's going to want first team football, and I think that there's certain clubs there, Newcastle, Manchester United, Juventus, where I think he will get that from the get go. I think some of the clubs there, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Arsenal, he might need to wait for his turn. I think that the two English clubs he'll probably get into easier than Real Madrid because at Real Madrid are dripping with quality. But this lad is quality and he will break into it. Like you say, Juventus are kicking themselves. I'm sure his agent will be saying, don't sign a new contract with Bournemouth. And we've heard from agents on this show before, and agents are probably the bane of every football fan's lives because they are the ones that, but then again, they're doing the best things by their client. And of course, Dean Howson probably wouldn't have signed for Bournemouth if it was a case that we turned around and we said, no, we're not putting that minimum free release clause. And, we probably wouldn't have the chance to see this lad play for this football club. So the aim now has got to be to try and get into Europe, make sure we stay in Europe, because of course we might go in January, even if we do manage to keep hold of him this window, and be consistent with it. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass when all these rumours come out, and I like you say, I can't see a couple of those clubs. I don't see why he'd go to Manchester United. He could be sold the dream there, but the club is an absolute fucking basket case. And why he would want to go there when he's at AFC Bournemouth under a manager that's actually got a clue? Why he'd want to go to the plastic Manx who really haven't got a fucking clue, from their arse to their elbow, is beyond me. I could understand Liverpool, I could understand Arsenal, I could understand Newcastle before, Manchester United. But yeah, it's stupid. I think a lot of it is made up shite as well to actually raise the attention that he's getting. Hey, there's probably going to be others that are going to be looking at this lad. Hey, he deserves it. He deserves it. But at the same time, the press and the speculation and the agents, they piss me off with this sort of thing. Moving swiftly on.
Well, just before we do move on, what I would
Go
say
on.
as well, with Dino,
Yeah.
he walks into 5 of those starting lineups out of the 6 for me.
Which one does he walk into?
Which one doesn't he just walk straight into?
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
Agree with
But
that.
the other 5, I think he would easily walk into any of those starting lineups. I really do. And maybe in a few years, a couple of years, he would probably walk into Real Madrid's. I rate this guy so highly that, yeah, easily those 5 sides there, he would walk straight into those teams without a doubt.
Bloody hell, Matt. We're not trying to promote him here.
Oh no, He doesn't need me promoting him.
No,
He
exactly.
himself for 90 minutes every game he plays. I mean, and every game he plays, he seems to get better and better and more intelligent. And he's put himself in the shop window, nobody else.
Yeah, agree with that.
And yeah, like you say, really, I mean, the thing is, it's good to see that your players are getting spoken about and speculated about, but at the same time, you don't want to watch your side get cherry picked. Excuse the pun. And good there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually.
It's happened before. I mean, look how long ago, just not that long ago in distant, in recent memory. Southampton were known as Liverpool's feeder club. And they were coming back for we don't want that to happen to Bournemouth.
Well, exactly, and literally, we don't want to be Liverpool's feeder club because what come the other way? Jordan Ibe, for fuck's sake. So yeah, yeah, he does sell himself, best on the pitch. But he's a man that I'm truly in love with. But it seems like other people are truly in love with him as well. Antoine Semenyo, the man is an absolute legend. He's an absolute beast. I tell you what, he can battle, he can run, he can cut in the insides, can score a great goal. And of course, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Newcastle have come sniffing. I think Newcastle probably, we've heard that link several times before. But
Arsenal as well, I think. Arsenal as well.
Yeah, but it's. Do you know what? He, again, a man that when he arrived at Dean Court, I turned around and I said to Mark McAdam, I said, well, he blows a bit hot and cold for Bristol City. I don't know if he's going to be a great signing. Hang on, I was fucking wrong again. I was wrong again because the man is an absolute legend. And yeah, this would be a massive loss for us, but I think it's probably the one we could. It's a big loss, but it's the one we could probably weather the most.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly. The problem is it's when you see him linked to these clubs, you start to think where could you see him suit?
Yeah.
Where, or more to the point, where do you not want to see him suit? But for me, Newcastle, Liverpool, and again, he could potentially suit there. I think for him to stay with us, I think European qualification is pretty much a must.
Agree.
To stay with us. Yeah, I mean he's come on leaps and bounds at Bournemouth. But I think when he first came in, I did question it. I thought, we are making this signing, and and at first I think he was touted to be a bit of a backup striker, and I thought, well, he's definitely not really a striker, is he? He's more of a wide player, but he's come on leaps and bounds, and I think that is massive credit to the manager. But not only that, I think he made the right decision. I think he chose the right club as well. A football inside, like, even though it was under Gary O'Neill at the time, but I think it's paid dividends for him coming here. And he's excelled, massively excelled. And yeah, it's disappointing. He would be a massive disappointment to lose, definitely.
100%. 100%. I love the man. Like I say, he has got everything, that we want a player that playing for this football club to have. He always gives 110%. I think the thing that his will probably go through his mind is that it's possibly now or never to go to one of these big clubs, and make a lot of money for the future. He's already being paid handsomely by Bournemouth, but it might be a case that it's either now or never for him. And I'm hoping that he decides it's never, and stays with AFC Bournemouth for life, because the man is a legend. How many times have I said legend there? Shall we say?
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
about 10 times, haven't I?
yeah. Legend is a word that's sometimes used too much, but
Yeah.
but yeah, this is one for me. I mean, this guy is. I mean, I've got him on my shirt just there. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
he is my favorite player at the minute, and again, you've got so many good players that are playing so well. They're going to get talked about. They're going to get talked about, no matter how fed up people get of speculation and people saying hands off our players and things like that, which it is. I mean, I don't want to see any of these names go, but it's how football works, isn't it? And agents, money, ambition all comes into play, doesn't it? And I would like to think out of all the players that we're possibly discussing, this is one that definitely doesn't go. I mean, at the minute, I've seen Newcastle that he's linked to. There's a few other little bits that he's, it's been said, but this seems to be the biggest one. Again, is it paper talk? Is it because his dad played there? Is it because Eddie Howe's got connections with Bournemouth? Is it this how much? This, I wouldn't say this is so as solid as the other two players that we've just spoken about.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think what Eddie's thinking of is that his father, Patrick, was a little bit shite when he got to Newcastle. So he's going to sign Justin because he knows that he's already scored a hat-trick, which Patrick didn't do at St James's Park. So, yeah, Eddie, piss off for this one. You are still a legend, still love you to bits, still a god. But yeah, please piss off for the moment. But yeah, I think Justin is quality player, absolutely quality player. He's running again through the middle. He's creative. A man that I don't want to see leave this football club. And I actually think I agree with you 100% on that. He's probably the least likely to happen of the three that we've spoken about so far. But I'm sure we'll get into ones that have been linked all bloody season in a moment, won't we?
Yeah, we certainly will.
Yes, this man. There's people and Liverpool fans who are. It's a bit like a bit like if there was 10 men and Margot Robbie in a club, those 10 men would be hawking round her like no tomorrow, asking, "Oh, can we have a date with you, Margot?" And she'd probably turn around and say, "Piss off." The problem is here is, Milos has actually said that he doesn't want to go to Liverpool on his YouTube channel, but again, I am sure that the agent will be pushing and pushing and pushing because it's going to make them a lot of money. It's going to make him a lot of money. And again, the three clubs. I can see him slotting Matt straight into Liverpool in that left back position. That's the horrible thing about this rumour. And I actually think there is probably some weight behind it. As much as Milos does turn around and say professionally, on his YouTube channel, which he does gaming and things like that. I've watched. I don't. A lot of it's in Hungarian, so I don't really get it. I don't really understand it. And plus, I'm not a big gamer. But as much as he turns around and does the professional thing and says he doesn't want to go to Liverpool, hey, I'm sure his agent's probably in his ear. Yap, 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 yap.
I've said all season, Kerkez, I can't say any more about, how good he is on the pitch without repeating himself too much. He's a great asset, great getting forward, great in the tackle. But unfortunately, he's had a lot of clubs. I don't think he's maybe an overly, I think he goes where he's going to get a good deal.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you say. I mean, Liverpool he fits into all day. I can see why Man United are fishing as well, because obviously the likes of Luke Shaw, I think, has had their time. Who's the other kid? I think he's playing a back three now, and he with wing backs. He suits that to the ground.
Yeah.
Arsenal, yeah, again he would walk straight in to Arsenal's side. I think left back. But yeah, the one for me, I think that he suits is Liverpool. But I mean, we don't. I mean, I know we've brought How do you pronounce it?
Julio Soler.
Soler.
Julio Soler.
I know we brought him in, but we were lacking in the left back area anyway. And he does look like he's going to potentially come on to be a very, very good player. But you definitely don't want to lose this guy. Again, I think it's gonna hinge on Europe, I think. But if they come in, and what did we sign him for? Was he signed for about 13 million? Was he?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, something
I mean,
around that 13, 15 million, wasn't it? Off
you,
the top of my
you,
head.
you're not discussing for anything less of a fee between 40 to 60 million for this player.
More towards 60,
Yeah,
which, like you say, he's going to walk into Liverpool. He'll walk into Arsenal. And to be honest, me and you could walk into Manchester United and get a game with how shite they are at the moment. So, yeah, I think he's probably one of those top 2 teams that he'll probably go to. But again, pleasure to watch it. And hey, it's going to happen at some point. But at the end of the day, we don't want him to go anywhere. Europe's a must.
No. I mean, every player on here, that's been linked to clubs. Nobody wants to lose these players at all. And let's hope. There's not a lot of loyalty in football this day and age, but let's just hope there's a bit of loyalty there as well. And
towards the manager, Iraola.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Now, this speculation, I mean, with this, for me, when we first signed him, it was actually quite common knowledge then that Man City had been monitoring him, and they said that they would continue to monitor his progress at Bournemouth. So to see Man United are
shite.
That's going to please the old blue moon side of Manchester, isn't it? That I got mixed up. Manchester City being linked with Zabarnyi is no surprise. No surprise.
No.
Real Madrid, again, he's this kiddie. We have got 2 world-class centre backs.
Agree, 150%.
World-class centre backs, and I know some people think that's mad. These 2 players, Huijsen and Zabarnyi, for me, are world class.
We're lucky to have them. And this rumour and these 2 clubs have been speculated with him for such a long time. Like you say, Matt, I heard as well back in when we signed him about the Manchester City link and how they were going to monitor him. And Real Madrid leaped on the bandwagon not for long after, to be perfectly honest. I even said to Arsenal Fan TV up at the Emirates, and I said, Real Madrid and Man City are monitoring him. I was concerned last summer if he was going to go because he was doing so well. This season, he's been even fucking better.
Again, he's improving game by game. Getting more experience game by game, playing against the best players in the world.
Well,
I mean, look at that tackle he put in at Saints at the weekend.
Oh, honestly, he's bloody brilliant.
He's
bloody brilliant. I remember,
that right as well. I mean, that's the thing with that tackle, which I love the most, is the timing of it.
But it's not the first time he's done it. He did it against Newcastle last season at home. Can you remember when he really did, slid in? I think it was to Anthony Gordon, wasn't it? And he just picked his pocket. Just honestly, he is, like you say, one of the best central defenders in the world, bar none. And we've got the other one as well, Dean Howson. Okay, there's going to be other central defenders out there, but these 2 are right up there, and they will be right up there at the very top. And in 5 years' time, they could be really at the top of their game. But they're both playing together at the moment, and being outstanding. But there is another man as well who has been linked with a move away. And this man is the glue for these players. And this man going could be the biggest loss, that this football club's had, because, those players that we've just spoken about there, if this man goes, we're right up shit's creek without a paddle, because he is a man that keeps them happy, has improved them, man on man, has improved them, every single week. If you look to the start of the season to now, these players have got better each week. We lose this man, and it could be a domino effect.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just part of the parcel of the game, unfortunately, isn't it? And Andoni is doing such a great job here that he's going to attract interest wherever he's been. Whichever club he's been at, he always seems to have attracted interest from other clubs who have then monitored him. He's not the type of guy to break a contract.
No.
So I think, and it was discussed on previous shows, that he's not the type of person to do that, but the club are obviously trying in the background to get a new deal again for him, and just let's see what happens. I mean, if he doesn't sign a new deal, I think that says that he intends to see his contract out and then see what is out there, around that time. The whole Spurs speculation
It's bollocks, that
is not nothing to go by. Manchester City, okay, I know there's a lot of pressure on Pep at the minute. I know, there's a lot of speculation, this, that, and the other about him. I can't see him leaving City. I think
too much there.
I mean, you look at how dominant United were. They've been more dominant than United in the last sort of, United had spells, didn't they? Like 2 years, 3 years of winning the league consecutively. Or was it like 4 years they won it the most in a row? United.
Yes, yeah.
There's always that pattern where even dominant sides, Ferguson had to rebuild a couple of sides. That's where Pep's at.
Yeah.
He needs to rebuild. So I can't see really Manchester City parting ways with him or him wanting to go. I see him doing a bit of a rebuild job at City and probably bouncing back next season, if it doesn't surprise me. But for the future, can you see why Andoni's probably being speculated with City? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Real Madrid would be a pull because it's Real Madrid, and not only that, he's a Spanish guy. I think his previous club was based.
Rayo Vallecano is based in Madrid, yeah.
So he knows Madrid. Yeah. But I think there's still speculation about Carlo Ancelotti, whether he's going or not. So the problem is, unfortunately, we're just going to be going around in circles with all this kind of speculation week after week.
Yeah.
Because of the performances all these guys are putting in.
Well, Real Madrid, to be honest, if they come in for him, I can't see us standing in his way. We know that, let's be honest, the prestige of being a manager for that football club would be, and nobody could blame him. But hopefully he's got a good enough project here that if anybody apart from them comes in, then, hopefully he'll stay. Europe is going to be a big thing. Keeping our players is going to be a big thing. If Frano and Pinto start selling players under his nose, he might think, well, I've built this club up and now it's being taken apart, and there's no point in staying any longer. Real Madrid would be like, you take Man City, Man City. It's like going from Rochdale, which is Rayo Vallecano, to Man City. That's what he'd basically be doing. Rayo Vallecano, a very small side. He's done a remarkable job with them in keeping them in La Liga as well, beating the teams that they did. I could see that. But hopefully it's long term rather than next season. But yeah, that's what we hope. But one thing, Matt, that we've got to say, there is more speculation that we're going to bring up in a second. These rumours make European football. It's no longer that would be nice. It's a must now for this football club to keep hold of these players. It's not well, if we do, great. If we don't, there's no real bother. At the end of the day, we're still in the Premier League. We're still ploughing along. It's a must. It's a must to keep hold of these lads.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, there has been an article that has come out, and I'm going to show it on the screen now. And this is a little bit more positive speculation that we're going to reject Milos Kerkez and Antoine Semenyo bids. But there is bids going in anyway, by the sounds of things. So, Bournemouth are flying in the Premier League this term and look good value to secure shot qualification to next season's Champions League. However, warning signs will be flashing for Cherries fans, with a number of their star players being watched closely by elite sides in England. Liverpool are continuing to monitor left-back Milos Kerkez, whilst Chelsea are weighing up a move for Antoine Semenyo in the summer. Dean Howson, Illia Zabarnyi and Justin Kluivert have also impressed for Andoni Iraola's side. Everton's former chief, Keith Wyness, who served as CEO at Goodison Park between 2004 and 2009 and now runs a football consultancy advising elite clubs, has had his say on why Bournemouth won't be tempted to sell again after Dominic Solanke's huge money move to Tottenham last year. Bournemouth have no pressing need to sell this summer. Speaking on the new edition of Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, Wyness claimed the Cherries have no pressing need to sell from a profit and sustainability rule perspective. He also claimed the club will be in line for a bumper prize money payout from the Premier League as they close in on a club record high finish. Wyness told Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, it will be tempting to hold on to these players. They've been playing some great football. The squad is so united, and that's what's impressed me. The togetherness and unity, the hard work, the Achilles heel for Bournemouth is the stadium. Is about 11,000 in capacity on European nights. That would be weird. It's going to shock clubs who come over to play them if they do make it. The temptation will be to keep this squad together. It doesn't seem like there's a pressing need to sell for them when you look at their numbers. They've got some good bonus money from the Premier League, so hopefully they can make a push. Bournemouth deserve it. They've played some great football. Wow. And I agree with him. I do agree with him. There is no need to sell, from when I've spoken to the likes of Kieran Maguire, Mark McAdam, and I did a recording last season with Mark McAdam where there was this stupid rumor, speculation, shite, whatever you call it, just wafts in the air, going around social media, and everybody gets all irate, that Bournemouth were going to be full foul of PSR. It was absolute bollocks, as Mark McAdam pointed out, and so it showed. Mark was spot on. That's why he is a very trusted journalist, not an absolute buffoon like some people that you see on X. But, you know, I think he's spot on, Keith Winess. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but then I've said that all along
Mm.
when we spoke about speculation previously. It won't be down to the club. If players go, they will force the move. The club hasn't got to sell anybody.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So the thing is, this day and age, you find situations where, the club doesn't have to sell.
Mm.
A big club comes, well, say a big club, but let's say, let's use Liverpool, for example, comes in for a
Yeah.
player. That player wants to play for Liverpool, digs their heels in, and then it becomes to the point where the club kind of gets forced to sell because the player doesn't want to play for the club no more, and you can't keep an unhappy player because, or a player that's going to cause an atmosphere. I personally think it would be the players that will, want to go for their ambition. The club itself doesn't have to sell. It's not like 15, 20, 20 years ago when that's how the club survived, by selling its best players. Those days are long gone. But yeah, in terms of PSR and things like that, the club is fine.
Yeah.
But it's going to be down to the players, the agents. They're going to be the ones that are going to force the move, unfortunately.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. And with Dean Howson, the club's got no say if the clause is released. The release clause is activated. There's nothing the club can do on that respect. But if a player wants to go, normally they tend to force their way out, don't they?
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. And the thing is, we have got, there is no need to sell. There is no need to sell. Hopefully they all enjoy playing under Iraola. Hopefully they can see the benefits of Iraola. That's why he is probably the key man that we can't lose, because if they're enjoying playing under him and don't want to leave Iraola, great. So he is the key cog. With regards to stadiums and things like that, stadium revenue makes up such a small amount of a club's income. Yes, we've got the smallest stadium income revenue streams in the Premier League, but we are trying to improve that. But until there's a new stadium, we can't go no further. However, again, like you've said a couple of times, Matt, with the project at Manchester United, surely these players want to be part of the project here.
And that's the other thing as well. It's a good project, isn't it? There's the
Mm,
training ground, which is, set to, open imminently.
yeah,
Then they're going to be looking at the stadium side of things, and the club's in 5th position in the Premier League. So, I think if I was, a player, I'd be wanting to stay at Bournemouth and see how the project evolves. But I'm going to say that as a Bournemouth fan, aren't I? But yeah, it's very exciting, extremely exciting time, most exciting time in the club's history with everything that's going on. So, yeah, like I say, I still stick by it. If there is transfers, it would be down to players, wanting the move.
well, if I was a professional football player, with the skill of some of these lads, I would want to stay at Bournemouth as well. But, of course, it's because I'm also a Bournemouth fan. Hey, wouldn't it be good if we had the skills of these lads? Yeah, to be honest, wasn't too bad a player, but, yeah. The look. Well, we'll finish off there. Here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. find out about them, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk, and do check out for all your business telecoms needs, touchpointtelecoms.co.uk, and Mark and the team there will help you. Until the next one, up the cherries, nobody leave, everybody stay here, we all love each other, and we'll see you soon.
The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.